In this video, we're going to have a look how to make this slider with the gallery images for the product. And you'll see that as I go through, they change up. It's on an infinite loop. And if you click on it, the image changes. And then if you click on the image, it opens up a bigger version of the image. So, and yeah, everything is working as it should. So to just show you how this is all set up, there are a couple of steps. Basically what we do is we make a reusable element and then we insert it using the shortcode to insert WooCommerce reusable elements or template parts. And then we, in the final step, then we use a hook and we insert that into the page and then apply some styling to have it fit in the right place. So I'm just going to give you a quick overview then of how to make that work. So what I'm going to do now is just head over to the snippet, and what I'll do is I'm just going to copy or delete, should I say, that snippet, and then we'll save the changes. And what should happen now is that the image should go back to the default. So there we go, back to the default. And now I'm going to show you how to set that all up. So I've opened up Oxygen already, and what we're going to do is we're going to make a reusable element, but I'm going to make it in Oxygen first, just because if I make it here, I can see the images. Otherwise, if I make it as a reusable, we're not in a product loop, we can't really see what we're doing. So the first thing we need to do is add a div. So I'm going to add a div. Then I'm going to move that div to the top of the page. Right, and then in that div, I'm going to add two carousel elements. So we go to extras, and I'm going to add carousel builder 1 and carousel builder number 2. Then what I'm going to do is set them both to pick up the Woo product gallery. So they'll both pick up the Woo product gallery, and then the top one I'm going to set to the size of medium, and the bottom builder I'm going to set, well, just the default is then thumbnail. What I also need to do is link the two. So what I need to do is, if you look down in the settings here, you'll see there's a syncing option, and use as navigation for another carousel. Yes, enable, and then it's going to ask for the ID of the carousel with the images in. So I'm going to go back to the top one. I'm just going to copy the ID from the top here, go back to the bottom one, and I'll have to go back to syncing, and then just everything after the hashtag, paste it in, and we'll save. Now, there are no images visible here at the moment, so to get the images to be visible, I'm going to choose the Polo product, because I know that the Polo product has a few images. So we're just going to load up the Polo, and there you can see the images are coming through. So one of the things that I want to do with the carousel builder at the bottom is, on the bottom one, this is going to be the navigation. So in that carousel, I'm going to just set to group by cells and choose a number, and I'm just going to say 3. So we'll group the images 3 at a time for the carousel, and that's a nice size against the top, which will just display the one image. So we go to the carousel there, choose a number, and it's already on 1. So we don't have to do anything there. The other thing that I want to do is I want to include the product, the main product image, and we need to do that for both. Otherwise, if there's an uneven number of images, then of course it can't sync properly. And true. And then in the top one, I also want to allow then for links to images, so that when you click on it, the image opens. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to save that. And then what I'll do is I'm going to export this or save this as a reusable element. So make reusable, and I'm going to call this product gallery images carousel. And okay, and then once it's saved, I need to remove it from here because I don't want the carousel on the page, and I remove that and save. Right, so that's out of the way. Right, the next thing that I need to do is now open up that carousel. So I'm going to just go back to the admin here, And then I'm going to go to the templates, Oxygen templates. And now I'm going to open up the product gallery images carousel. And before I open it though, I'm just taking note of this ID number here, 524, because we're going to need to insert that into the website. And I'm going to say okay. So that's opening up. Then I'm going to go to my snippet and I'm just going to paste in the 524. Just waiting for Oxygen to load. Right, so Oxygen loaded, and we're just going to give it a second. Right, there we go. We have the div, and inside the div, there we have our elements. And if I go back to the snippets now, I'm going to save those changes. And in the code that you can use for the shortcode, so this is the code here. We just need to copy this. And then I'm going to go back here and just add that there. And then I'm going to copy that out and put it here. Right. Then we can start building our function for outputting the carousel. So that will be function by underscore, let's just go product underscore carousel. Right, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to go echo do underscore short code, and then in the middle there we're going to paste our short code, and that's it. That's the function. Now what we need to do is just go and determine where we're going to put it. So on the visual hook guide on Business Bloomer, you'll see that in the left-hand column we're going to replace the image, and if we scroll down we'll see in the left-hand column there's really only two things regarding images, and that's the product thumbnails and the product images. So I'm going to copy that, and what I want to do is essentially disable them. So what I'm going to do here is just go with a remove action and a remove action. Let's save that. And now when we go to the website, you'll see that there are no images available. Right, so now what I'm going to do is make an update here and output the carousel. And I'm going to do that here in place of that. So what we're going to do now is add the action back. And when we add it back, I'm going to do it for the product carousel. And then I'm going to save the changes. Okay. And then I'm going to refresh. And then what you're going to see is that your carousel's there, but it's really in the wrong place. It really needs to be down here. So that's just a bit of styling. First thing we need to do is wrap this in a class. So echo div class equals, right, and then just echo / div. Right, so there we have the close, and then the class that we're going to put in here is going to be the, let's call it the dash prod dash carousel. Right, so, and I'm just going to copy, I don't need to copy that, and I'm going to save the changes, head over to the website and refresh. And right, the div's been applied, but obviously we need to do a bit of styling there. So we'll quickly inspect, and let's head over to that section. Right, so, and what I want to do is just close up all these so I can see the page structure and see where we're fitting here. So, right, so we've got the product carousel, then I have the product summary. Now, I know from the work that I did earlier in setting up this template that in order for this to fit is that the content that I have here has a width of 65% and I need to make up the balance of 35. So in your template, just have a look and see what the structure is there with the elements. and then you'll be able to insert this. If you get stuck, if you have a look at the video on how this was constructed, you'll see how you can wrap the elements in div tags so that you can separate them out. And that might be all that you need, or maybe not. Right, then I'm going to go back to this product carousel, hit the plus button so I can add the class, and then I'm going to go display, and I'm going to go with a inline block. Right, and now I know that the width, if the other width is 65, then 35% makes up the 100. So I know that this one has to be 35%. Right, and don't be put off by the way that it looks. It will do that because it hasn't rendered correctly. We've just resized and everything squashed up, but it hasn't had a chance to, put the carousel back together. And then what I'm going to do is head over to the customize, and then I'm just going to add the class in here so I can see what it looks like. Right, so drop that in there, publish, and then we'll close up. Right, and there's our carousel. And if I click, you'll see that, yeah, it's working. It's selecting the images. I can drag it, and I can drag here as well. So this is not on any infinite scrolling, so maybe that's what we want to add here. So we head back to the carousel, and then once the carousel is loaded, we go here to behavior interaction, and the behavior we'll set then is to be an infinite cell, so it's a continuous loop, and we're not going to put an autoplay on the top one. On the bottom one with the thumbnails, what we'll do is go to behavior. We'll also say wrap around infinite scroll, and you'll see here we can also put an autoplay. So I'll put an autoplay on there so that the thumbnails, scroll through so people see it. And then we'll just have a look here if there's anything else that we need to do. Pause on, hover on autoplay is already selected, so we don't need to worry there. Just another thing that you might want to have a look at in the top one and possibly in the bottom one as well is if your images are different sizes, then under cells, if you scroll to the bottom, you might want to force, not that, no, let's just go back here to carousel. Force equal height. So on the carousel, you want to force equal height so you don't have your thumbnails at the bottom moving up and down if your images are different sizes. So the size will always be the size of the largest image. Then the next thing that we're going to do is remove the arrows. We don't want the arrows in the top, but we do want them in the bottom. So in the top one now, I'm going to look for navigation arrows. First drop down, set to none, and we're done. Now when I refresh, you will see that we can scroll. There's an auto scroll running on the bottom, and we don't have those navigation arrows at the top. So you can always adjust the auto scroll if it doesn't kick in fast enough. And the other thing is if I click on an image, it opens up in the browser window, and I just click back and go back to the images. Now, one of the issues that I found with that is that I did try to link this to a Lightbox, but that created a kind of a strange issue. So if I go add and I go to extras and I go to Lightbox, I've set up the Lightbox. The recommendation from OxyExtras is that you select the manual using links, and then here we just put in a special selector that has been preset to link to a carousel, and that is this oxy-carousel-builder_gallery-image. So I'm going to copy that and head back here, and I'm just going to paste that in. Right, so I've pasted that in to the Lightbox, and now you remember that we only set it for the top image to open in a window. So the bottom one would be just to select the image that we want to see. And now you'll see that every time I select it, I get this error message. But when I click on the top image is working just fine. I can scroll, I can click, it opens very nicely. but for some reason now the bottom image is affected by that as well. And when you go back to check, you'll see that the image here is not set to, it is set on false. We don't want Lightbox compatibility on the bottom image, and I couldn't find any settings in here that would disable that. So I'm not sure if there is one that will remove that error message. So just to show you, that works fine, but every time I click here now, it's correct in saying that it can't do the request, but I didn't ask it to do the request in the first place. Right, so I'm not sure why that is. So I'm just going to turn off the Lightbox functionality, because that's not really going to, that might just annoy people a bit. But yeah, that's one way then that you can add the OxyExtras carousel to your product pages. If we go and have a look at a product that only has one image, let's have a look at this album. You'll see it just brings up the album and it looks a bit bare because there's so much white space around. So that's not great. And the other one, if we look at Beanie, also a different layout, but you'll also see here that lots of white space, so it's not looking too good. So one way to do that would be then to target the page and then to only load that that carousel if there was, if there were a couple of images. Condition to see if this can be done. So we'll go function underscore and only gal pages, and then right. And what we're going to do is get the product info. So the first thing I'm going to do is access the global post variable, and the next thing I'm going to do is product, and that'll be equal to wc underscore get underscore product, and we're going to get the product information for a particular product, and it'll be on the post ID. Right, so there we're going to get the product information. Now what we need to do is target the check if this image has gallery images. So gallery images, and that should be product get underscore underscore images, either gallery or gal images. So the correct term is get gallery images underscore ID. So now that will get us the get gallery images ID. And the next thing that we want to do then is if there are gallery underscore images, let's just do that again. Maybe I'll just zoom in a bit here. So if there are gallery images, then let's do something. And if there are gallery images, then I'm just going to copy all of these and paste them in here. So if there are gallery images, then do what it used to do on any page. That should be IDs. So it's get gallery images IDs, product. I think that's everything that we need to do. The only other thing we need to do now is to determine where to run this function. So we've created the function, and now we just need to run this as an action. So add action, and what I found with WooCommerce, the best one to use is the WooCommerce underscore before underscore template underscore part, and then we put in the only gal pages, That's the default priority. And then, right, so let's see if this will check. It'll first check if the product has gallery images, and if it has, we should then still see the so it looks like I might have made a mistake there with the gallery in. Right, so just need to make that get gallery image IDs, not images IDs, right? And then back to the website, refresh. And now we're back on the page. We have that running. Now we want to just check on a page that doesn't have. Okay, so there we have it. So if you've only got one image, it'll show the normal single image. And then if you have more than one image, it defaults then to the gallery. Okay, so let's just give that a test here. So what I'll do is I'm going to head over to the sunglasses and I'm going to edit that product. Going to add a second image. So here I'm going to go to gallery images. Let's just add that image. Update. Right, let's view the product. And let's just refresh. Okay, so, because we said group the images in the carousel in threes, and now there are only two images, so that's a problem. So head back here, go to the carousel builder at the bottom, carousel, and let's just say 1. Let's save that and refresh. Now it's working. It just looks really weird because we've only got the two images instead of the like one more would have just made that a bit better. I wonder if there's a way to centralize these images in the carousel. So we'll go to carousel. We've already set to center one image group together. Not enable carousel at this. Yeah, full screen. Yeah, so it looks like if there's two elements only, then it could look a little bit weird in the carousel. Nothing to do with the individual cells that I can see. Yeah, so it does look like it is going to be a little bit odd. And we do have infinite scroll on here. So generally with infinite scroll, then basically you would see the image to the side like you have here. And it does work, but it just looks a little bit weird. However, I mean, it is kind of working. It's just the layout that's a little bit crazy. So yeah, so it will work. One last thing to check is just if I go over to this polo again and I inspect, and I just want to see what this looks like on mobile. And you'll see that it doesn't have a good mobile look, and that's because we didn't make provision for the mobile view. So just head over to customize, and we just need to change some CSS there. So this was our product carousel here, and I'll just scroll down to my, here we have a at media, and what I want to do in here now is I just want to make sure that this is going to be mobile friendly. So another quick way of doing that is to just hide the controls there, open it up. I'll just inspect. Scroll up here till we get to the right place, and that's it over there. And then we'll just up that, and I already know that I think the only thing I need to do is make that width 100%. Right, so that's all that I need to do is make sure that the width of that selector is width of 100%. So I'm going to do that. Head over here. That's the selector. Scroll down. And make that a width of 100%. Right, and then we can publish that, close that, resize, scroll down, refresh. Okay, so almost there. So it's still showing 35% in the breakpoint. So let me just go back there. Scroll down. Oh, I pasted that one in already. Okay, so publish, close up, refresh, and then we can have a look at that on mobile. And you'll see now that when you scroll down, that the scroller does fit nicely. And if I go to a product that doesn't have a lot of images, then I'm just going to see the one normal image. Right, so yeah, that's how you can set up. The other thing that you might want to do if you want to limit it to only 3 products that have 3 images or more, then you could do a count of the gallery images, and if the count is greater than or is equal to 3 or greater, then only display the carousel. Otherwise, if it's 2 images, you just display the 2 images as normal. To do that, we'd have to just look at, maybe we can do that then. So let's go gallery count, and that'll be equal to count, and let's go gallery images, and then here we'll just add another condition, and the gallery count is equal to or greater than 3. So both those conditions have to be true. Let's save that. Just paste that in. Always got to do greater than or equal to. If you do it the other way around, then means something else. Doesn't work. So greater than or equal to 3. And now if we head back, so now if I go to the sunglasses, we only had the 2 images. We should just see, so there we're seeing the normal images. That's right, because there's only that many. And then if we go to the polo, we should see, and we've got the carousel. So that's how you can then only apply the image carousel if you have enough images for the carousel to work, and if you don't, then it just displays the normal image. Well, I hope you found that useful, and thank you for watching.